Thank you again for coming tonight. It is our pride and joy to bring our Joe Gilman back. And the project tonight, of course, is Another Day, Oscar Peterson's album, Another Day. And again, it is an encore presentation. On drums, Mr. Rick Lauder. On bass, Butsa Necek. And the man of the evening, Joe Gilman, Dr. Joe Gilman, Oscar Peterson's Another Day.
All right, thanks everyone. How we doing out there? Everything good? All right, thank you. So how's the temperature in here? Are you guys okay? It's warm. Okay. So here's the deal. Okay, it's Sacramento. I happen to live in my house, and it's kind of a little warmer in my house. So when we were here rehearsing earlier, I said, "Can you turn the temperature up?" So if you no, it can't. So it's warm here because of me. It's my fault. It got warm in here because we had it a little bit warmer. But if you guys want it down, we can maybe accommodate that. It's okay. All right. So anyway, thank you all so much for coming out. So a little bit about the music and this album and everything. So that was a tune called Martha's Blues. It was written by Oscar Peterson. It's the first track on the album that we're featuring tonight. This is an album called Another Day from 1970 on the MPS record label. I'm not sure who Martha was or is. 1970, right? So that's 49 years ago. So not sure who Martha, yeah, well, we're not sure. So a little bit about what this concert is and why it is. So a little over a year ago, a friend of mine who lives in Bloomington, Indiana, his name's Luke Gillespie. He's a great jazz pianist, and there's this challenge that goes around to musicians. You know, list the 10 albums that were very influential in your development as a musician. And so he challenged me with that. And so you kind of got to start like way at the beginning, like why did you even get interested in the music that you're interested in and that kind of stuff. So I started with It was Walt Disney's Merriest Songs, I think, was my, because it had the bare necessities on it, and there was another one, I Want to Be Like You was on the other one, and so it got about to the third or fourth album, and I listed this album as being one of the important albums that got me into jazz. Actually, prior to this, it was Dave Brubeck's Take 5. Yeah, that was a good one. That was like number 3 or something, and then a Monty Alexander album called Montreux Alexander. That was, but the reason I found this album was I was at the Carmichael Library. I actually grew up in this area, so I was at the Carmichael Library trying to, my allowance was $2 a week, I think. And so I was at the, so you could only buy so many albums on $2 a week. So, but Tower was a great place to learn about jazz, right? Because you could just go and there was all these records and you could just pick them all up and get your entire history of jazz on the liner notes to these records and stuff. So at any rate, there's all these records. I didn't know what to buy, so I just happened to be at the Carmichael Library once, and the Carmichael Library had 3 jazz albums. There was this one, there was Oscar Peterson, Another Day, there was Herbie Hancock, VSOP, and then there was a kind of an obscure Eddie Harris record that they had. So I happened to pick the Herbie Hancock record and the Oscar Peterson record. And I put this record on. By the way, we're talking about records. So I'm kind of doing an environmental scan about records here. How many people know it? Yes, vinyl there. Now people know what I'm talking about. Right, so I put this thing on, and it was just one of those moments where you're like, can a human being actually do what I'm hearing on this record, is this even physically possible? So it was just like one of those things where we used to, what we call about wearing out the album. It belonged to Carmichael Library, so I couldn't exactly wear it out. But I would just listen to this record over and over again. It was just unbelievable, the things that I heard Oscar Peterson doing on this record. It was the kinds of things that I was hearing Monty Alexander doing and stuff, but it was just at a completely different level, so I just kept listening to that record over and over. It was just very, very important to me. Anyway, so there'll be, basically the music is the intermission between all the banter that I do. So that was the first tune on this record. So now we're going to do this. I believe this is the second tune. So this is his version of Greensleeve. Few piano trios in history that us rhythm section players just absolutely need to know. So one of them is the Oscar Peterson trio that included Oscar Peterson on piano and Ray Brown on bass and Ed Thigpen on drums. That was sort of the super classic Oscar Peterson trio, of which there were many other ones that were great, but that's sort of the one that set a very super high standard for trio playing. There's other ones, the Bill Evans trio with Scott LaFaro and Paul Motion and so on and so forth. So the album that we're doing right now was a very odd, obscure trio. It was great, but it was Oscar Peterson on piano, obviously, and George Mraz on bass, who went by Jiri Mraz on this record. Say what? Jiří. You learn something every day. So Jiří, but it's spelled Jiri, but he eventually changed his name to the Americanized George. And then a guy named Ray Price on drums, who I believe was an English drummer. All right. Let's give it once again for Butsa Necek on bass. Svetozar. All right. And on drums, we have Rick Lauder. Right.
Hello, everybody. Carolyne Swayze here. Well, we certainly hope that you enjoyed part one of the Joe Gilman Trio featuring Remembering Oscar Peterson's Another Day. We hope to bring you parts 2 and 3 of this 3-part series for your sustained, renewed membership to SJC. We invite you to check back and to subscribe to the Sacramento Jazz Co-op YouTube channel, where we will be bringing all of our digital online concerts, jazz chats, and so much more. So until we see you again, be safe. Keep the music playing straight ahead. Wear your mask. And we'll see you soon.